ॐ समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दम् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. Okay, last time we did verse 15, and in that we had done titiksha, that one must cultivate titiksha, and which said sama dukkha sukham dhiram. Now, it is not easy sukh or dukh ko sam karna. Now, what is meant by it is titiksha, develop a stoicism about this thing. Now, how does one develop that stoicism? That is another thing. Stoicism is not forced on you. If it is compulsory, then very soon you would like to unshackle yourself from it. So it has to come naturally from within. And that can only come through the knowledge of the impermanence of the situation. A. When you think the situation is impermanent, then you automatically get a little bit more grit to face the situation because you know that it's going to end. Hmm? Now, that is one thing. So, with that knowledge, see, let me give you an example. Supposing there is a father and son playing with a balloon. Okay. Now, the father knows that the balloon can burst and it will burst. The child is enjoying the color, the foam, the buoyancy, all that. And so is the father enjoying along with the son. But all the time, the father has the knowledge that the balloon can burst and it's just a temporary thing. So when the balloon does burst, there are two reactions, different reactions. The father smiles and laughs, and the son starts crying. Now, the same situation has created two different responses. So, one response came with a mature knowledge that this is a temporary form, temporary thing, it's going to burst. The other came with the knowledge that this is a permanent form and color. And that is the reason the two different reactions that happen. Similarly, you put value on something, whatever you put value on will trouble you. So, and value is put by yourself, whether it is diamonds or it is a stone or it is a people keep pets and things and all, and they place so much of value on it. So when you put the more value you put on it, the more it gains the power to trouble you. When you know that anything and everything is impermanent, A, and valueless also, the value has been put by you. So, titiksha, if you want to develop, then you have to devalue things in life as impermanent. And you know that they are impermanent, so they are not going to trouble you. Just like, again, I'll give you another example, and that example is of marbles. A child plays with marbles, he loves the color, loves the shape, and all that. And he gives them to his father in safe custody. Please keep this. Now, for him, they are very valuable. For the father, they are not valuable. So, when the father receives them, then there is no sukha dukkha in his mind, right? And when they are taken away from him, again there is no sukha dukkha in his mind because he has not placed any value on that. Whereas if the marbles get lost, then the son is very disturbed. If he gets them back as they were, the son is very happy. So titiksha is all a matter of knowledge about the infinite nature or the finite nature of the things around you. So when you know that anything that is finite is going to change, you do not cling to it, and that is what titiksha is about, right? Now, not forced. So now we come to the 16th verse today. And this verse is uh, what your whole Vedantic philosophy is about. So here it goes. नासतो विद्यते भावो न भावो विद्यते सतः उभयोरपि दृष्टोऽन्तस्त्व अनयोस्तत्त्वदर्शिभिः. Now, what does the verse say? It says, the unreal has no being. There is no non being of the real. The truth about both these has been seen by the knowers of the truth or the seers of the essence. Now, the seers of the essence were all the great thinkers, the rishis of yore, who spent a lot of time researching into the nature of things, the permanent nature and the impermanent nature of things, right? And so, what is real and what is unreal? Now, if you say that there is nothing, he says the unreal has no being. That means the unreal does not exist. It only means that it is an illusion. Now, see one thing. The rishis of yore have defined it very scientifically, the definition of reality. They say that that which was not there in the beginning and is not there at the end, but seems to be there in the middle, cannot be real. Because reality, the definition they give of reality is that which was, that which is, and that which ever shall be, and that which does not change. Now, when you think of the universe, the entire universe, we do not know of anything that does not fall into the category of the unreal. Everything falls in the category of the unreal because it changes. Everything changes. Objects change, your experience of things change, and your mind, my goodness, the mind changes every minute. You have that experience, haven't you? That the mind in the morning was something else, the mind after 2 hours was something else, the mind when you heard something, got some news, became something else. So the mind keeps on dancing to love, hate, fear, jealousy, whatever comes into your mind, the mind keeps dancing. So the mind becomes unreal. Then your perception of the world also keeps changing. Anything and everything that you see, you perceive, you change your opinion about. You change your opinion about people, you change your opinion about experiences. You say, oh, it wasn't so bad after all. At that time, I thought it was very bad. Now I don't think it is so bad. So then your experiences change. And your own attitudes towards things change. Love changes into hate, hate changes into love. These are all conditional things and all subject to change. Now, okay, so then when you take this Vedantic explanation that anything which changes cannot be real, so then there is this great story of Raja Jana. He dreamt, he was a king, very powerful king, and he dreamt that he is a beggar. And he's going about asking for food, and nobody at all is giving him any food. He also dreamt that he is sick, he is leprous, he is hungry, tired, wearing ragged clothes. But then the thing is that when he woke up, he realized that all that was not true. So you see, there is no way to smuggle the waker into the dreamer. So when it is only after he wakes up that he realizes that that thing that seemed so real to me was not real. But so long as he's dreaming, that whole thing is so real to him, right? So now then there are these three different stages of your consciousness: waker, dreamer, and deep sleeper. So when Raja Janak wakes up, he begins to wonder that beggar which was so real, and his experiences of hunger, thirst were so real, the pain that he was experiencing. And now that he is a king, as soon as he wakes, so he asks Ashtavakra. Ashtavakra was a very, very knowledgeable saint of those days. So he asks him, and he says that which is real? Tell me, my dream real or this real? So he says that neither was this real nor was that real. Because even the waking, if it was real, it should always remain like that. But the waking world does not exist in the dream world, and the dream world does not exist in the waking world. And in your deep sleep, all the three disappear. So when all the three worlds disappear, then they all three must be illusion, because they are not permanent. They are definitely not permanent. Right? So then what is permanent? Okay, now we come to this, that people say that, okay, when you see it, well, that is what is real. What you see is true. But tell me this, see, the earth is constantly moving on its own axis. It is going round and round. You know it as the truth, but do you feel it? Or do you see it? No, you don't see it. Gravity is a reality. Do you see it? No, you don't see it. Right? The blueness of the sky. You know that the sky is not blue, but you see it as blue. Illusion again. You see the sun rising and the sun setting. You know that is not a reality. So that is also an illusion. But so this whole thing, that if I see it, it is true, and if I don't see it, it is not true, is the biggest fallacy. Please understand that no way can you apply this logic to anything. That you see, then it is true. So then you also see the dream. Was it true? No, it wasn't true. You know it. But then, so then what is true? There must be something in all these experiences, there must be something that must be the permanent, which makes you experience all these changes. You cannot experience change if you are in the change yourself. You have to be on a permanent substratum to experience the change. ठीक है ना? Now, what is that substratum? That substratum is the pure consciousness in you, the life force. You can call it what you like. You can call it Brahma, you can call it the life force, the life spark, you can call it God, Mr. God, you can call it, or whatever you wish to call it. Give it any name like Krishna, Ram, Allah, whatever you like to call. But that is just your created thing. The fact is that that power which lends power to all these experiences is the reality alone, because this is a common factor in all. Even in when you dream, who was seeing the dream? Again, it your eyes were closed, right? So the thing that sees actually was not there. Who was seeing the dream? Similarly, in deep sleep, please understand, in deep sleep, when you say that you knew nothing, so who something must be present there to know nothing. Otherwise, how do you know that you knew nothing? Something must be definitely there. So that pure awareness, that pure knowledge is the substratum on which all these changes take place. And that is what the ultimate truth is, which says, which Guru Nanak also in the in your Granth Sahib says that heavy such, hove we such. He talks about the same thing. And that is the only reality, substratum. So, see, to see movement, you must be standing on a firm place. To see a river flowing, you must be standing on the bank. Even if you are on the river, the banks are stationary. So, with reference to the banks, you know that the river is flowing, that there is movement. So, see, to see movement, there has to be a contrast of permanence. See, supposing when you are going in an aeroplane, I'll give another example. When you're going in an aeroplane and there is no reference point anywhere, you know, these pilots fly very, very high in international flights. So we've all seen that when the plane is flying very high, then there is nothing you can see. Okay, so when there is nothing you can see, you feel that the plane is not at all moving, isn't it? You can't see the movement of the plane, though the plane is going at a very high speed. So the movement can only be seen, any movement can be only seen with a substratum of permanence. So with reference, then one has to ask, with reference to what do you experience? With reference to what do you see change? And that is the ultimate thing, and that is that what the changeless substratum. That is changeless, permanent, and totally changeless. Now, all your experiences, are of three kinds. Like you see a snake, you will say, I see a snake and I am not afraid of it. Okay, that is one experience. You are still seeing the snake and you have made up your mind not to be afraid of it. Okay, that is one. Number two is that uh, I see a snake. Number one is I see a snake and I am afraid of it. Okay, this is one which all of us feel. Then number two, I see a snake and I'm not afraid of it. That is number two. And number three is that I do not see a snake. I see a rope. That is the wise man who sees the reality. And when he sees the reality and he functions in the world with that in the background of his mind, at that time, that man fears nothing. It is abhaya. There is total abhaya. And he sees nothing at all. But so long as you are dreaming, that is a relative reality. So even when you are awake in the world, this is a relative reality with reference to the ultimate reality. Relative reality, you have to act in that relative reality. See, if you're seeing a dream and a tiger is chasing you, you will have to run, even in the dream. So, in the dream, even though it is unreal, the tiger will eat you up if you don't run. Similarly, in the world, maybe this is not real, but you have to act according to what is happening in the relative reality. So that is the important point over here. But when you act in the world, knowing the ultimate reality, then the elusive reality loses its grip on you. Then it is much easier to follow titiksha. It is much easier to follow sukha dukkha same kritva labha labho jaya jayo, which is another verse in the Gita. We'll be doing it. So that now also understand that what is that ultimate reality then finally. The body is moving, the body is beautifully thinking, the body is intelligently speaking, but we all know that this whole bundle of carbon, phosphorus, calcium on its own cannot move. We know that. So you see a dead body and you'll know it. So we understand that. But so what is it that makes it move? Even when you are sleeping, all the functions in your body are taking place. Your digestion is taking place on its own. The heart is beating on its own. Your pulse is beating on its own. You are not doing anything. You don't even know that it is happening, right? So, how come all those functions are taking place? Your blood is flowing in your body, in all your nerves. So, what is that force that is functioning over there? A scientific statement I'm giving you, it is a science law that nothing moves unless there is a force behind it. Got it? Nothing moves unless there is a force behind it. So we have to question that what is the force with which this body moves? Because that must be the ultimate reality. All your electrical equipments, this is an example I'm giving, all the electrical equipments are dead as dodo without the touch of the spark of electricity. The electricity does not move. As we say, the ultimate reality is all pervading. It does not move. It cannot move. It has no elbow space. It cannot nudge you or anything because it is everywhere. It has, again, you say it is formless. Something which is everywhere has to be formless. You can only see it by its effects. I give you an example from the world air. So when the child says that, Mummy, show me air, what do you show him? You show him a moving tree, a swaying tree. So the child says, but that is just the tree. Where is the air? And then you say, the air is moving the tree, but the air is invisible. And this ultimate reality is very, very subtle, far subtler than air or space or anything. So, obviously, it is beyond the senses, but you come to understand it only through its effects. And that is because of those effects, you say that it is there. You have to only put your hand on your pulse or your thumb on your pulse, as the doctors put it, to see your pulse. When they do that, the pulse is continuously beating. You can neither stop it, nor you can make it faster or slower. It is going to do its job. So there is definitely some power in this body, which is the body is totally lifeless. So that power that propels the body, that propels the mind, it is behind your all three instruments, your body, your mind, and your intellect. These are the three things because of which you perceive the world. These are the three because of which you gain any knowledge of the world. But all these three get life and power because of this great grand reality, which always is. So the verse is saying the real never is not. I mean, if you translate it that way in English, it says the real never is not, and the unreal never is. The unreal never is. But you see it just like you see a dream or you see an illusion. You see a snake on a rope. You see at night and you're looking out of your window and there is the bough of a tree moving and you see it as a ghost. Well, then that ghost becomes real for you. It is your mental projection. You see it like that. But the reality is a tree. Similarly, the snake is not there. The reality is the rope. And the rope was always there. The snake was not there in the beginning. It is not there in the end. Once you see the rope, the snake goes. Then you say, where did the snake go? What a foolish question this is. The snake never came from anywhere. So where will it go? Similarly, the unreality does not exist at all. It is not there at all. So it didn't come from anywhere. It doesn't go anywhere. It is a projection. Now, these are very deep concepts, very subtle concepts, and these concepts need to be thought on meditated upon very, very carefully, and one has to think of them very carefully. Now, uh, later on, you can think about it, and we come to the next verse, and that next verse is the 17th verse. अविनाशी तु तद्विद्धि येन सर्वमिदं ततं विनाशम् अव्ययस्यास्य न कश्चित् कर्तुमर्हति. It says, know that to be indestructible, by which all this is pervaded. None can cause the destruction of that, the imperishable. So the reality cannot be destroyed. This is what it is saying, in effect, that none can cause the destruction of that. See, understand that the cause pervades the effect. Carefully. The cause pervades the effect, and also the cause outlives the effect. Like, I'll give you an example. Mud. Mud is the cause of a pot. Any kind of pot. You give it also a name, you give it a shape. The name will be gold pot because it carries gold, water pot because it carries water, right? So now, but they are all in effect mud. So the cause is mud, the effect is the pot. So mud pervades the entire effect. True or not? The cause pervades the effect. Now, when you say that the cause outlives the effect, that means the cause still remains, the effect may be lost. The pot breaks, but the mud remains. The bangle breaks, but the gold remains. So the bangle shape, form, name is destroyed, but the gold remains. Similarly, in the water, the bubble breaks, but the ocean remains. The water remains. So the cause remains, it outlives the effect, and the cause is the effect with a different shape, with a different name, right? That is all. So it says that avinashi tu tadvitti. So that is no, and see, he is using two words. One is that, and one is this. Now, when he says, know that to be indestructible, he is not even naming it. He is not even naming it. Please notice. He doesn't call it God, or he doesn't call it Ram or Krishna or anything. He just says that. Now, that is that great truth, that great awareness, which is everywhere. And that cannot be destroyed because it is too subtle. See, you cannot even destroy space. And this is much, much more subtle, all pervasive, because of which the planets move, because of which all the constellations move, because of which there are so many galaxies in the world, because of which there is some power, some super intelligence that is moving everything in perfection. You and I are there for a very, very short time, and we call ourselves permanent. We live under the illusion that we are permanent. We see death all around us, but we still think that this one died, that one died, this one got destroyed, that got destroyed, but I am permanent. So he says that know that to be indestructible, by which all this is pervaded. So everything else that you see is pervaded by that. So ultimate reality is only that. There is nothing else which is the reality. So this thing, see, effects keep on changing, But that which is permanent never changes. It does not fall into the category of change. So that so now when you perceive change, and I told you that you have to perceive it only from the standpoint of the changeless. So if you are perceiving change, we all perceive change, right? So the changeless must be in us as well. We are nothing else but the changeless. That is why the Gita says that you are immortal. He uses the word amrita. Amrita means change, as I told you. And amrita, amritatva, means that which never changes. And therefore, you cannot use the word mrityu for that permanent reality. You cannot use that word. Only the body dies, the body changes, and the body degenerates, takes on a new body when it is done with the old body. Just like when you have no use for an old garment, you throw it away, and that verse will come again, and you will see how this thing, how it is defining it. Now, electricity. See, electricity moves the things. It pervades the fan. It pervades the bulb. It pervades your air conditioner, your fridge, your all the other equipments. Electricity pervades. And electricity being the cause, the effect is movement, the effect is light, the effect is coolness in the fridge, heat in the heater. So that which pervades everywhere, as we said, cannot move because it has no space to move. Yet it causes movement. Sanidhya matrena. That means coming close to it, anything that comes close to it will gather life. Just like it permeates every cell of your body. It is not some little bulb or something which is shining inside your heart or kept somewhere inside. No, it is not. It is too subtle for that. It has no shape. It is permeating your whole body. And with that, you suddenly start speaking, talking, moving, glowing. All that is because of that which does not move. Also understand that even though that is the whole reality, uh, understand that it says that it is indescribable. Ye dekho word, it says none can cause the destruction of that, and it says that it is the imperishable, it is the indestructible, it is pervaded by all. Hmm? So all these are he is saying over here. And then there is something called Vakyartha and Lakshartha. Vakyartha means the literal meaning, and Lakshartha, Laksha means inference. So many sentences in your scriptures gain meaning by Lakshartha. They point towards something. Like these two words are both pointers. That is a pointer and this is a pointer, right? These two words are basically pointing. So here, this the first pointer is pointing towards the great truth. The second pointer is is pointing to the relative reality that you see around it. But so long as you are in the relative reality, there is no way that you can understand this other thing. There is an example of a chap called Mr. John. That Mr. John started thinking that he is a worm. Now, many people, get this kind of psychological hang up about who they are, what they are. Now, so he started thinking he's a worm, and he started fearing every bird that was around. Whenever he saw a bird, he used to run from there and think that this bird is going to eat me up because the birds eat worms. Now, when the family saw this, they said, "Oh, he has to be taken to a psychiatrist." So they took him to a counselor. And you know how the counselors is, they all just basically listen to your problem and then treat you with your own problem. So the counselor made him lie down on the bed, charged him that whatever $200 per hour or what, and made him talk. So he gave his whole story of how that poor fellow, was a worm, and that any bird will peck at him. The psychologist treated him, took that money, and said, "Mr. John, please understand you are not a worm and nothing can destroy you. Now you please go." So, Mr. Worm, have you understood? Mr. John, have you understood? He said, "Yes." Now, Mr. John started going home. So, when he turned the corner of the street, he quickly ran back. And so the psychologist says, "What's the matter? Don't you know that you are not the worm? I have convinced you that you are not the worm." So he said, "Yes, I know I am not the worm, but does the bird know?" Now, see, this is what is called knowledge, but not living in that knowledge, which all of us do. Intellectually understanding this whole thing is one thing, but to understand that you are Avinashi and live with that realization is quite another. And that requires a whole lot of practice. And that is what all your sadhana is about. Huh? So remember this story of Mr. John, that even when you know it intellectually, it doesn't help because you are still afraid of the world. You are still afraid, and you cannot develop the tiksha if you are not rooted in that knowledge. So every day you have to be rooted in that knowledge of the truth. Gurudev used to say, Swami Chinmayananda, he used to say that understand one big mantra, and that is Mad Evam Satya. Mad Evam Satya means that all that you see is nothing else excepting mud. It has come from mud and it will go back into mud. It is only you and I that place so much of value. The value is on diamond, the value is on show off, the value is on cars, the value is on big houses, the value is on uh, I am intelligent, I am skillful, I am rich, I am powerful, I am this, I am that. Who has placed that value? You are nothing. You are just a bundle of carbon, phosphorus, calcium. It is a bag. You know what is it. Just peel the skin a little bit and you will see what you are. Is nothing. Blood, flesh, bones, right? And nerves, fecal matter, urine. This is a beautifully gift wrapped bag of all this muck. What are you proud about? What are you arrogant about? So, living in the world, taking all your skills as a great blessing from the Lord, be thankful. Be thankful for all that He has blessed you with. Even the air you breathe is a blessing for Him, from Him. Just a little bit of air minus, and you know what happens. So, with that, we finish this verse, and then Asat and Sat. With this knowledge, try and practice, and we will take verse 18 next time. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om